welcome everybody. This is our first episode of the West Coast Wrestling Trios. My name is Tony. I'll be your host for this evening, and alongside my brother Armando, and our great friend, another brother from another mother, Miguel. Um, Catch him here. Catch us live. No, not live, but catch us streaming here on YouTube whenever you get a chance. Again, welcome. This is a West Coast Wrestling Trios podcast. Again, this is for fans, by fans, and all three of us have been really been friends for a long time. We know wrestling. We grew up with wrestling. Like I got a cat over here. I don't know if you can hear him. I'll put him down real quick. um, but in the long run, like I've been a big wrestling fan for ever since I was a child. Ever since we picked up those VHSs was WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan back in the day, and then just growing up watching it and the evolution of the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era, and now we're in this weird TKO era that when it comes to WWE, but when it comes to like the whole aspect of wrestling, it's just been an explosion of wrestling since the WCW days, and then now we got AEW, who's predominantly one of the top promotions out there. But Mondo, I'd like want to introduce yourself a little bit and then just talk about yourself for a second, so that way the audience get to know you.
Hey everybody, my name is Armando. I am the younger of the two siblings here, the guy in the middle there. That is my brother Tony. Well, like he said, we grew up on wrestling, and it was those Saturday morning cartoons followed by WWE superstars late in the noon or afternoon. Can't recall, but to the best of my memory, good times. We used to go to this VHS back in the day, video store. This guy named Mr. Kim, he just knew that we always rented out wrestling videotapes. Predominantly was WWF at the time, and every time the new pay-per-view came up, he would always tell us, "Hey, I saved you guys a copy. There you go." It was like back in the day, it was like $2, and we had it for like 5, 6 days, and he didn't mind. That's pretty cool. And he even gave us like this. I still remember. It's like I think it was actually filmed in the dungeon of Stu Hart, because they looked like it was there. There were like these masked luchadors, and it was called the Secrets of Wrestling. And it was really cool, just growing up back in the 80s, early 90s with, like my brother said, with the whole Hulkamania. You got the Attitude Era, and I'll be honest with you guys, not gonna shy away from things, but like towards the John Cena days, and we're gonna touch on that. You're gonna get to know us, and we're gonna reflect on some of those things. The Ruthless Aggression Era, I wasn't a big fan of it. I'm gonna be very honest. Something about that, it just kind of turned me off on wrestling. But then with the whole CM Punk pipe bomb came out, my brother got me back in. It's like, hey, you got to check this out. So if anything, my brother's been pretty much the gravitational pull towards wrestling, because he's the one who's always kept me in the loop. Even though like I'll hear it and I'll just be nodding my head like, yeah, okay, that's nice. John Cena won it like 500 times. Okay, good for him. But no, just being very honest, being very real. We do go to indie shows here in California, mainly in the Los Angeles area. I know I got to make a drive. I'm no longer in the LA area, but I still go out and do my best to catch those shows with my brother and Miguel, brother from another mother, just like my brother said. So yeah, hopefully you guys will follow us and just enjoy it, because this is not only for us, this is for you guys too.
Cool. And then last but not least, Miguel, I'd like to introduce yourself to the audience out there.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? My name is Miguel. I also go by the California Rattlesnake. I've been a longtime wrestling fan since I was a child. I probably say 95, 96 are my earliest memories of being a wrestling fan. I remember tuning in USA Network at night, and tuning in every single Monday Night Raw and just watching as a kid and just being mesmerized by some of these storylines and just mesmerized by um, the way they would really, I won't even say act, because it really seemed like they were hitting each other. But now I know professionally that they were so good at it that it made that's what it. And so, long story short, that's just how I fell in love with wrestling. And then that trickled down to, I remember moving into a block, and there was a kid in the block who he had a VHS as well, and he had a VHS tape. Who he was like, "Hey man, you got a VHS at home?" And I was like, "Yeah, my dad has one, and um, I use it, but I don't have movies." And he's like, "You like wrestling?" He's like, "Let me pass you this," and he passed me an ECW tape, and it had Sabu, and it had all sorts of crazy, the craziest matches that I have. I mean, you should have seen the way I was a little kid. And so that's how my love of wrestling began. I started watching hardcore stuff, and I just fell in love with just everything, just the storytelling that these athletes do on a week in and week out basis, eat from the time to when they start to the time they make it to whatever they call home. So I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with you guys on a weekly basis. I'm really looking forward to having a connection with you guys, and I'm really looking forward to building a really cool wrestling community for us to all gather, come around, and talk and have some fun. So remember, Miguel, also known as the California Rattlesnake.
There you go, Cali Rattlesnake. So
That's
like
right.
like we said, we're all here together. We're all wrestling fans, so we're going to be touching upon some of the things that that occurred during Monday Night Raw. With AEW Collision and Dynamite. And then obviously, we get into the SmackDowns whenever we can. If it's too soon, then we won't talk about it. But then we'll talk about what happened, the other previous shows. We'll get closer to the PLEs. We'll do predictions. We get to pay-per-views for AEW. We'll also make predictions so that way everybody has a say in what we think is going to happen. And again, it's all about having a good time, having it fun, and then hopefully our opinions, like Miguel said, you guys are strap on for the ride, and hopefully you guys enjoy what we have to say. And then we will always welcome opinions. So again, if you guys are listening, if you guys are seeing this video, we would love to hear your guys' comments. If there's any concerns that you guys feel like, hey, I agree with Mondo. Hey, I agree with Cali Rattlesnake. Like, let's, they're great. Or, hey, I don't agree with you guys. Or, hey, maybe you should look at this other faction. Or, hey, you should look at it this way. We're always welcome to opinions, and we'll do our best to kind of, right the ship. And if we agree, we will agree. If not, then hey, we all have difference of opinion. It's all good. And then, within us three, and then with the community as well. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Monday Night Raw. It was a pretty good show. Overall, I think when it comes to the big man Obafemi, unstoppable. He just had a really big match with Otis, which I thought Otis was a really good opponent for him to kind of showcase how the strength and the ability that this man has. And Miguel, like I want to get your opinion on what you saw that night in that match.
Yeah, I mean, I thought first of all, I thought it was a great match by the both of them, but I know you and I were texting each other, or I think it was all three of us in the group chat. We were all texting, but I think really the star out of here was Otis. Otis just the way he came out, his energy. There wasn't ever a time or a reason that I think the WWE verse said, "Oh, Otis doesn't wrestle good or he botches or nothing." But I mean, he really did a real good job at making Oba look like a superstar, that it just made him look good. Like if I'm a superstar in the back, or someone like Oba, or let's just say someone even mid-tier that's still trying to get their name up there, guess who I'm calling to have a match with? Otis. You know what I mean? Because if you're gonna help me out like that, I'm gonna help you out like that. And that type of effort deserves airtime.
Cool, cool. Martha, what do you think about that match? Were you able to catch that?
Uh, yes and no. I did see how much fun both of them were having, though. That was a great aspect to that match. I did catch it here and there because I'll be honest. Looking at that match, sometimes they do this, and I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. Sometimes I don't see the matches; I have to hear it with the commentary. But when they do this zoom in, zoom out crap, I don't know. Like it gives me vertigo or something, and I just can't concentrate. Um, but overall, you got to give it to the fans. This crowd that night for Monday Night Raw into it, and I think that elevated both guys to like. man, you really got to check these guys out. And when you have crowds like that, just saying overall in the entire Monday Night Raw that they just had, those are the type of crowds we should always get for any wrestling company, whether it's independent, AEW, WWE, anywhere, New Japan, all around the world. Man, those guys were into it. There was no love loss, as in, what's going on right now with TKO and with the wrestlers. They weren't saying anything offensive. They were not trying to overtake the show. Bottom line, when you go to these things, just enjoy it. Enjoy the show. They got a great match. Almost a little bit of a botch with Obafemi trying to like overpower Otis there, but hey, things
Yeah.
happen, and you know what? It's live television.
I
It's
mean, Otis is
okay.
a big boy though, man.
Yes, dude, Otis, really underrated, man. He's very entertaining, and
Hmm.
even in his time in NXT, man, it was just really great, and it's like I'm glad we can see more of them, and hopefully we get to see more of Obafemi rise to the top. Not a meteoric rise, but let's build them up slowly like they're doing now, and just keep building on that. And I think they got a next top guy there.
Cool. And I think you probably hit the nail on the head, Mondo. That crowd, like you watch, we watch wrestling, and we see how sometimes the show can be a little bit stale because the crowd may not be into it. And I'll probably say this about the other show that happened, and we'll get into that later. But just yeah, I think the energy comes from the fans, and
Definitely.
I think if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think this new, albeit we have the releases, we know about what happened with the New Day, we all happened with Aleister Black, and I know they'll do well, and we can probably touch on that later. But what's happening right now, this happens every year. Miguel, you talked about this before. There's releases that always happen after WrestleMania. We saw them. We're in shock. We're in more shock about what happened. But getting into that, it's the newness. The newness. You got Sol Ruka coming out here, and immediately having pushing her into a feud with the man, with Becky Lynch, and I was like, wow, that's really quick. And seeing Ethan Page coming out, and then as I was looking at my notes here, like having Penta and the young OG out there, lining it up that tag match, with Rusev and Ethan Page. There's this, like, we see it every year, and I just wanted to see what your take is. Like, unfortunately, we can talk about that too. Seeing people walk away or being released, but then you're seeing this new crop of WWE superstars that are ready to make that jump, to ready to take over. Manda, what do you think of all that happening right now?
Let's hear from Miguel, because I really this is a topic that I really love that Miguel's very passionate about. So I want to hear his
Okay.
thoughts on this first.
Yeah, so I mean, far and foremost, I guess just to give you guys a little context, and I'm not talking about my colleagues, I'm talking about to everyone that's joining us. I have a background in business, so I sometimes tend to look at both from um, I guess a wrestler standpoint and then the business standpoint. And I just think something interesting is going on, which is before, when we would see these pushes or we would see these adjustments, like you said, they would be building blocks. And now we're just seeing, okay, they're coming straight from NXT, and now you're going straight into a big feud. I mean, there is no stepping stone, there is no let them build. And so
Mhm.
I just think it all goes back to the business, right? TKO hasn't been in the picture ever. So even us, even the universe, even the executives, they don't we don't know what this new looks like under TKO like this. This is the first time that we're all kind of experiencing this as fans, as a universe. So I'm just curious to know, because of the corporate mindset and because they know of the talent that's at NXT. WWE or WWF used to take their time with building these characters. But I think these new executives are just seeing dollar signs. And hey, why am I going to keep this guy 2 years on the reserves when I can be bringing this talent up, right? I mean, I can be paying this guy 2 million for bringing him up, and I got this guy who did 4 appearances, and I'm paying him 13 million. I mean, in a Vince mindset, that works. In a corporate mindset, I think that's where we're seeing the difference. I kind of like it though, I kind of like that there's new talent because again, we're seeing people like Joanne Evans, Obafemi, Ethan Page, Joe Henry. We're not talking about wrestlers that are just coming out and they're back or they're new into the WWE universe. Let's go again. Obafemi has his own act, clearly in his own lane. Joe Henry has his own act, clearly in his own lane. No one does what Javon Evans is doing off the ropes right now. No one brings the energy like Trick Williams is doing. They're seeing that these guys can bring in money and they're giving them their chances. And you tell me which one of those have failed? None. And we haven't seen that from an NXT bunch in a while. Let's be real, in a while.
Yeah, the last time we saw, the call-ups like a big impact was when Samoa Joe was around and Shinsuke,
Wow,
Sami
yeah.
Zayn coming up.
Finn
Those were
Balor,
Finn Balor.
That was a while.
Four
You're talking
horsemen.
about what?
You
Maybe
know,
like 10 plus years, 10 plus years
almost
ago?
10 years now. Yeah,
but yeah, you see that. But that's what I mean. That's it. It's just
big old gap.
the big newness of it happens every year. There's always these releases, and then you get somebody brand new, and it's something that we've in a sense as a wrestling fan you kind of get spoiled because that's how it used to be after WrestleMania. There's always this big reveal. There's always this brand new superstar coming about, and now it's like, well, these are, yes, they're brand new, but like it maybe takes about a week after, but seeing this, I think again, I think in a sense, and I'll probably give you guys background too. Yes, I might be a little bit more of a little WWE mark, if you will, than AEW, but I love watching AEW. But again, it's just growing up WWE, WWF. You kind of but there is another outlet. I understand that, and that's what I bought. That's what I love about wrestling, and that's what we have in these conversations as well. That's why we want to create this channel, so that way we can talk about everything wrestling that's happening, and then it opens up a little bit more of my eyes. And I know my brother's been dying for me to open my eyes a little bit more when it comes to AEW, and it's gonna happen, and it will, and it has. We've been to AEW Revolution before. We missed this series. We've been the one before
I
that.
didn't.
That was an amazing show. What, 7 hours of wrestling, and you can't beat that. I mean, that was a great price.
Yeah.
But Mondo, like, want to hear your reaction to what you think about like the new call ups. Unfortunately, there's also releases, and there's a lot to take in. But like, I think now want to get your opinion on that.
No, and it just goes to like how Miguel said, it's a business standpoint, and just doing some research here. Coming from Yahoo Sports One, like the biggest TKO's justification was management was arguing that the workloads have changed dramatically. So that was one thing, stating that wrestlers now have to travel one day out of the whole week to wrestle maybe twice a month now. So they're kind of micromanaging all these little things because yes, I get it. They're not really, their mindset isn't wrestling. Their mindset is like, hey, like Miguel said, you know, Obafemi, you're in your lane, you get me money, perfect, we're gonna keep you. Everybody else, well, you know what? Let's justify this for a moment. Like I just mentioned from Fox Sports One, you guys are only traveling less, you guys are working less, so why are we giving you seven figures? And it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's business. Um, is that a good thing or a bad thing? To be honest with you, it affects people's lives. It affects people putting food on the table for their families. and yet they just made $1.25 billion in the last quarter, and they're gonna say, "Hey, well, we don't have money to pay you guys." Well, we know the harsh truth and the reality is that it goes to the upper management. I mean, that's how it always goes in the business standpoint. I mean, even in regular jobs, they might think of us, or like the wrestlers. I shouldn't say us. I'm not a wrestler, but we're workers too. And then sometimes, as they say, the S word trickles down, and who gets the brunt of the whole thing? The guys at the bottom, the workers, the worker bees. So it kind of sucks, but like you said, there are options available to them. Unlike before, we had WWF, and back in, correct me if I'm wrong, back in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't an AEW or a WCW yet, because they came towards the late 90s, correct? Or
But
mid 90s.
there were territories though.
There were territories, but I mean, if
Something
to
big,
be
right?
honest, yeah, it wasn't like, hey, like the independent scene is right now, where
Right, right.
if I were to, like, say, for example, if I were to wrestle and then, like, hey, I get cut, like, hey, the Young Bucks made it obvious you can make money. Matt Cardona, again, another indie darling. You can make it in the indies. You made you established yourself, whether or not you made it to WWE or not, because it's two sides of a different coin there. But you can make it. Now you got New Japan. Now you got DDT Wrestling. There's more exposure. I mean, you can go down to Mexico. You got AAA. You got CMLL. There's options now. Unlike before, maybe they were just a little hesitant. Maybe they were just, kind of like you said, you were a mark. You're still a mark for WWE, which is fine. And some of these guys go, "Hey, it's WWE or bust." Nothing wrong with that. But at least now, some of them, current wrestlers right now, they have the option to go somewhere else. They have the option to still generate that, either a little bit more or a little bit less revenue. And it does suck that, reports are coming, or in the rumor mill, but they had 2 days to decide whether they wanted to take a pay cut or not. And if they didn't decide, boom, you're cut. Like, damn, that's super cutthroat. Like, to me, it's like, do you really value these people? Do you even see them as human beings nowadays? So that, to me, when I heard that, I was like, ouch. Um, are we going to continue watching WWE? Well, yes. It's a brand. Like, you guys mentioned, we grew up with it, and now more than ever, since we are doing this podcast here, I feel that I have to be invested as well. But when things like this happen, there was a quote. What was it with Cody Rhodes? He doesn't want backstage drama coming out to the open, or people are going to care less. Yes and no. And here's why. Growing up, everybody always wanted to be in the dirt sheets, because, that mystique of wrestling. But then when you find out, like, oh my God, let's just say, for example, Roddy Piper and the Iron Sheik, they're doing cocaine together. Like, what the hell? It's like,
You don't want that out there, huh?
yeah, you don't want that type of stuff out there. But, gladly, since that stuff didn't come out like right away, it came out later. But then, for a kid, that might be like, well, what are they doing? But when you're an adult, you're like, holy shit, that sounds pretty cool. Like, if these guys do coke, maybe I want to shoot a line with them. But, I'm just playing. Don't do coke. That's bad. Do Dr. Pepper. But anyways, just getting back on point, it's there's options out there. It sucks that they're doing this, but clearly at the end, TKO has a vision. We may not agree with it right now, but let's see where it goes and see if they are able to also produce better shows. I know it's ad filled, but another report came in that they're saying that they want us to get used to that advertisements, and then the, like, 5 matches that they're just going to produce. I just hope somewhere in between they can produce good wrestling matches, because it's a wrestling company first. That's why I enjoy watching AEW, because it's a wrestling company as well, more geared towards the wrestling a little bit. We can talk about the storylines later. But the fact of the matter is, WWE, under the TKO vision at the moment, not the best, but let's just hope for the better for that company. And I think they will. I mean, they've seen tough times too, and they know how to, rise above
Yeah,
hate.
you're. I think you're on it on that one, and I think you just gotta have patience. And I agree. I just don't like hearing what's going on. It just sometimes it leaves a sour, taste in your mouth. And at the end of the day, I mean, we all watched wrestling. We saw it on Monday, and again, going back, hey man, that crowd was hot. That crowd was like from the beginning with Roman Reigns coming out, and having that interaction with Seth Rollins, all the way to again going back to Sol Ruka coming out and having that interaction with Becky Lynch, to having the young OG match, and then all the way to Oba coming out, and then having the OTC having that interaction with Jake and Fatu. Again, right before we go on to the next segment, I just want to get you guys' thoughts of like what you guys think about the main event going into Backlash between Roman Reigns and Jake and Fatu. Miguel, what do you think about that? He's acknowledging his tribal chief. I think we all are at the moment. Besides, I don't know about Mondo. I think
Listen,
Mondo's
you guys know how I feel about Fatu. My boy, I love my boy. I love his energy. My boy's crazy, but at the end of the day, and what I mean by crazy, I mean crazy good, right? But um I just think at the end of the day, there's times where I mean I'm at Target and I just randomly just acknowledge the chief, I'm just like and I grab my shampoo, so I still gotta acknowledge the chief until it's over.
all right.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
cool. Mondo, what do you think about the main event for Backlash?
Great buildup. I like the interaction that they had there at the end. You can tell
Mhm.
they're very passionate, and it's always good when you have, you know, two good characters. Because I gotta say the wolf there, Jacob
The Lone Wolf?
Fatu.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, like this guy is something else. I'll admit to that. Roman Reigns, he's gotten better. Um, bottom
Oh yeah,
line,
definitely, 100%.
both brought energy. Crowd was into it. They were passionate in the promos there. So you know what? This coming Saturday for Backlash, I'm gonna predict, because I know there's 4 other matches we can touch on, but for the World Heavyweight Championship, I'm gonna go with the challenger on this one. I'm gonna say we're gonna have a new head of the table here, fellas. I'm gonna say it right here, new head of the table.
Oh wow, Miguel, do you feel the same way?
Oh, he's saying no.
He just acknowledged the tribal
He ain't
chief
my
a second
chief.
ago. He's like, I got that.
I just think hmm. What I hate going back to this. I just think if I'm a TKO executive, who do I want the belt on this summer? Who who can I acknowledge the rest of the summer?
Nah, no. As a wrestling fan, who do you want to
Yeah.
win? I don't care about TKO. They're gonna make their money regardless. Us
Yeah,
as
no,
fans, we want to get entertained. We want to
yeah, I want,
get a
yeah,
good match.
yeah. I mean, I want Roman. Like again, I love Fatu's energy. I love the way he wrestles. You guys know, I wake up and I do the Fatu every morning. So, but I'm just saying, just in terms of future storylines, and I think where this is going, and or not just them, but just in general his story. I just want to see what can Roman Reigns do after the streak that he lost to Cody. Then he came back. Then he left for a bit, and then now he's announcing that this summer he's gonna go to work. So I just want to see what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're telling me that he loses his belt, I wouldn't be mad if it's to Fatu either, but just hear me out. But if you're telling me that he's losing his belt, that's because you're telling me that he's not going to be present in the summer. And I don't like that.
He said he was going to work. Maybe he got a job at, Jack in the Box. I don't
You know what I mean? So,
That's
so I'm
got a
just saying
summer
like
job.
that's the only thing. But yeah, I think Tribal Chief is gonna he's gonna have a good summer.
yeah. I don't like hearing about what's going out there, and then apparently it was said, or I think I read out there that Roman Reigns wasn't going to show up for the rest of the summer, and I guess they were going to pull him out.
Yeah, I had heard that too. That's why I was like, oh man, what are we doing now? Like,
So I mean, I think it goes back to the all this like newness of what's happening, and hey, if Jacob is going to be the man, he's going to be the man that's going to hold that title. Because I just feel like that, after that, Seth is literally right around the corner. So that's something for another topic for another day. So let's just move on to AEW and Dynamite. I thought it was a pretty good show. Maybe the crowd might be a little bit different versus that, but versus what we saw versus Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But the matches, holy crap, from the beginning. And then I'm like, let me pull up my
Juice
notes. And
Robinson
again,
versus John Moxley. I like that one. That was hard hitting.
yeah, it was. I think it was freaking brutal. The way things started, and having Moxley just started bleeding out of his cheek, and
Yes.
added to some of that element of brutality in AEW. And again, these guys, and again, like I'm so used to watching it WWE, but then the pureness of wrestling, you see it, like you see how much they enjoy hitting each other and just beating the crap out of each other each and every day, but it's for the sport and it's for the entertainment, and that's what they're so passionate
Mm-hmm.
about what they do. And Amado, just want to get your quick take about what you thought about that first match that pretty much set the tone for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. But before we actually talk about the first match, let's just talk about the segment before that, showing respect to Ted Turner. Passed away 2 days, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
2 days
And
ago, as
2 days.
this recording.
So as of this recording, it was 2 days ago, and it was nice to see Sting out there, Tony Schiavone, paying their respects. And then when they kicked off the show with Juice Robinson and John Moxley, I was like, whoa, okay, cool. We're gonna have as JR used to say in WWE, a slobber knocker of a match, and that's what we got. And yeah, the first few minutes, the crowd was into it. Uh, kind of died down a little bit, but I think they were more in awe of the wrestling, and that's what I like about the crowds there with AEW. They like what they see, and they'll react to certain things appropriately or maybe not. But when they do, they're just really into it. And this match, these two guys were just going at it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, Juice Robinson, hopefully one day we see you as a mid card champ. Do I see him eventually becoming a champ? Hard to say. Still early in his career right now. Yeah, but guns up. I do like the whole Death Riders and Will Ospreay angle going on right now. Not to dismiss what they did in the ring, hard hitting. If there's a match you need to go see, or if you have time, go out and watch it. It was really fun. I enjoyed it, and like you said, the brutality of that thing. These guys are going like New Japan strong style, so
True.
it's a little different from what we're used to seeing with WWE. But you know what? A little change of pace, a little change of brutality, it does some people some wonders. So go ahead and check that out. And Miguel, what do you think about that first match?
Yeah, the first match was great. As I really like the way Juice Robinson has transformed himself over the year. Um, I know he was kind of injured, or I don't know what was going on. I think he was injured, and then he spent some time in the sidelines. But now that he's back, man, he looks jacked. He looks good. He's always enthusiastic and very energetic, and
Oh
so
yeah.
that mixed along with already the strong style that he fights anyways, mixed in with the strong style and brutality of John Moxley, it just fit perfect. The energy was perfect for I thought that was a great first energy match for for the show. Not to mention also too, not because yeah, sometimes there is dead crowds and stuff like that, but just to give them a little credit too, let's uh gotta also remember that it was a 3 hour show yesterday, and also too, as Armando alluded, rest in peace to Mr. Ted Turner, and prayers to his family, and we hope that his family and all his loved ones are close together, and they're able to kind of just close this chapter of his life and celebrate Mr. Turner's life. So, and thanks for letting us have a platform like this, right, for us to be able to speak about some of the things that we love in life. So rest in peace, Mr. Ted Turner. But yeah, I thought it was a great match, great energy. Yeah, I love Dynamite. It's always a great show.
And I agree too with Ted Turner and what he meant to the wrestling business. And it's um bringing in WCW and keeping that competition with the Monday Night Wars, because without and it's true, and I will give him his due. He revolutionized Monday nights, because it was a one pony show with WWE at the time, and then he came out with the Nitro, and with Eric Bischoff running it, and
Hmm.
man, we saw the best 100 weeks of our lives, in our adolescent lives, getting
We're never gonna see that ever again, man. We're never gonna see that ever again.
out,
Like
and,
ever.
and it was
Nothing's
so
gonna
much
compare to
fun.
that.
So
Nothing.
to that, I tip my hat to Ted Turner, billionaire Ted, as Sting almost called him, but Big Ted.
Yep.
Great job, man. Thank you for what you did to wrestling. And then moving on to one of the biggest, coolest things, I think, and this is the biggest difference within AEW versus WWE, is the tag team division. I was like floored, because it reminded me of Survivor Series 1988. Yes, I'm old school. I'm old ish.
Rockers, baby.
But that whole tag team Survivor Series, you got to see the plethora and the talent moving forward. That's what I saw at Dynamite with the Young Bucks, and then Christian Cage,
Adam Copeland. I'll
Adam
help you
Copeland. I was gonna
out.
call him Edge. I still love him as Edge, man. And the tag team division was just so like rich there, and we saw the lumberjack match happen, and to see everybody just jump in there and try to do their own move sets, and it got me really hyped, because I'm like, damn, this is one of the game changers in wrestling when it comes to the tag team division. And Mondo mentioned the Rockers, and we grew up watching back in the day with the Heart Foundation, Demolition,
Demolition, Legion of Doom. You
Legion of
got
Doom,
Big Boss Man and Akeem, the
with
American
Towers
Dream.
back in
Yeah.
the day, and these badass tag teams, and we saw some of them here
Power
and
and
there. New
Glory.
Day was one of them later on. And seeing what I saw at AEW, I was like, wow, this is something different. Mondo, what are your thoughts on the tag team division there?
Very stacked. It's sometimes it's a shame that you don't get to see most of them compete with one another. But when they do, whew, you're in for a one hell of a ride, man. I wanted to see a little bit more, and I hope we are going to be seeing more of the dogs. Um, their names escape me at the moment, but I know I've been keeping a close eye on them in New Japan. Kirk Honors, I believe, is one of them with Finley. Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
dude,
yeah.
those guys are just as good. But you know, I'm going to put over in the tag team division in AEW, and believe Miguel's going to agree with me on this one. Those boys, the Guns. I don't want to curse, so my God, man, they make anybody in that ring, because Colton, especially Austin, the shorter one, that we know who we're talking about. Uh, bro, I feel like that dude. When I see him in there, it reminds me a lot. Even his tights, even their getup. Shawn Michaels. He can sell it. He can make the other guys look good, and just he sells, makes everybody look good. You can even Colton, even though he got injured there, came back recently. Dude, these guys, top notch. I want to see these guys succeed more than any tag team.
Me too.
Dude, as much as I love my real father, Christian Cage, and Adam Copeland, I, I do want them to win FTR for the belt, but it would be so awesome if FTR were to lose to the Guns on the biggest stage of them all in.
Okay.
But that's just me, man. I really love the Guns. I'm really over on these guys. I love the way they exploded on the tag team scene since day one. It was just, and Miguel's gonna attest to this, dude. The freaking entrance, bar none, hands down, the best entrance AEW has, dude. Can't beat that.
Right
Can't
now,
beat that.
right
You
now
want
it's
to
one of
describe it, Miguel? I know you do a good job describing
He's
that.
been
yeah.
itching.
I mean, listen, guys. The Bang Bang Gang has one of the coldest entrances right now in all of pro wrestling. If you guys don't believe me, tap in the comments. But I mean, let's just start from when the lights turn off. I mean, and you hear that horn go off and you see the circle of lights create that halo and the cameraman's just doing that 360 angle of them. I mean,
Bro, yeah.
like that's like
It left him speechless. He's like,
man, it's just such a cold entrance, you know? Like you ain't gotta say nothing, you know?
oh,
So
yeah,
Totally agree, man. Totally agree.
cool. And I want to touch up on a couple of things during AEW that I thought was really cool, and I guess in a way I was impressed by, the women's tag team. We I wrote it down here. So we had Harley and Mina in a tag team with
Chris Statlander and
Statlander and Sheeta,
Hikaru Shida. Yep.
and again the small little build up in that promo. Harley, holy crap,
Yeah. Can we
Mina,
get that in slow motion?
big ups to them. No pun intended. But in terms of the match itself, I think you saw the passion coming from Harley, but the true MVPs in this match, in my opinion, were Sheeta and Mina. I think they were hard hitting. They kind of knew each other a little bit more, just because there was a little bit of miscommunication here and there with the other two. Again, from what I saw, and I really felt that that Sheeta and Mina, like, they just carried this match, and I was like, holy crap. And again, there'd be a topic for later on, but I think these Asian female wrestlers, both for AEW and WWE, like, they've been doing work, and
right.
this match in AEW kind of proved, how hardcore these ladies are. And I'm not taking anything away from Statlander, I'm not taking anything away from Harley, but because they showed passion, and I'm not gonna take that away. Harley showed passion every time she struck. She was screaming and she was ready to do another move and whatnot.
Miguel's
And I
like
was like,
picturing it in his head. Like, oh yeah, do
like,
that
hey,
to me.
look at this guy's daydreaming over here. But overall, I was like, I was very impressed that this tag team was being carried by the female Japanese wrestlers. Let's get that little drool off of Miguel. But Miguel, what do you thought about that match right there, dude?
Hold on, let me get some wipies.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was a great match.
I bet you did.
No, I thought it was a great match. No, it was cool. I definitely agree with you with what you said, how all the Asian wrestlers, as far as the females right now, they're just on point. You know, they're bringing the heat, they're bringing the energy, they're bringing um their enthusiasm, they're bringing all the moves. You know, they're jumping off the top rope consistently. You know, I just think that all that shows, as their passion. And so I just think, like Tony said, it just they're killing it, man. They're absolutely killing it.
Mondo, what do you think?
Well, I got to say, you guys are on point there. They are absolutely killing it. One of the main things, and I got to say, my family and I, we watch AEW. We catch all their pay-per-views ever since my little boy was a little
Little
just being
nugget.
born, like a little nugget. But I always tell my wife, this division with WWE, I always see that there is an issue in kind of meshing with one another. And you're right, Tony. Sometimes, when you put, like, say, one of these women from Stardom out from the East, you put them up to, like, say, a Chris Statlander, Cameron, Harley Cameron there. It might not mix too well, but then again, it's two styles mixing together. And then once they find that it becomes a great match. Still early in Harley Cameron's career, you know what? She she's very passionate. You can see it in every move that she does, every strike. But you're right. When you have Hikaru Shida and Mina Shirakawa, dude, that was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
holy crap, you felt it. You felt like the animosity. You felt that they were telling a story. Like, hey, you're not here to bully me. And then you got Hikaru Shida who's trying to make fun of them, who's trying to say, like, you guys are nothing. You guys are beneath us. Dude, I felt that. And that was amazing. Now, and this is the thing that I like talking to about my wife when we watch the women wrestle. It's always good when you have them about yay size, not too tall and not too small. Because I always find that hard to believe when you have, not taking anything away from her. And I know you're not a big fan of Mercedes Monet, but I could not fathom that she would beat somebody like Chris Statlander, who's such a powerhouse. You know what I mean? And when they were telling the story, yes, they had a great match, but at the end of the day, I didn't like some of the results when she was there. But when you have similar sized women, not overly tall, dude, they can produce great matches. When you have somebody who's super tall and then somebody who's tiny, very rare do you get to see that they actually do good. Mina, Chris, they did a great job. Again, it's feeling each other out, getting them more repetitions, and oh, sorry. We can edit that out, right? But anyways,
Now we're keeping it.
we're keeping it. Okay, so just having them showcase what a tall and a smaller person can do, great. But the overall outcome of this match, man, you're right. These two ladies, Mina Shirakawa, Hikaru Shida, dude, hands down, they made the match. I did love watching Harley Cameron get in there for other reasons. Chris Statlander, dude, I think she's amazing. She's super athletic. Like I said, she's a total powerhouse.
Harley Cameron.
There you go. But yeah, dude, going back to your point, this was another good match. Lately, AEW's women's division been kind of like a little bit rocky, a little bit performance wise. Did have a little like less miscues this time around, but man, they put it all when you put it on the line like they did, great things happen, and we just saw that this past Wednesday on Dynamite.
Yo, Biggie, you good?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, like I said, I
Harley
mean,
Cameron.
yeah, I mean, Harley Cameron is a babe. I mean, that's really
I
what
can hardly talk about this. I'm sorry, but but we're good there.
All right.
Well, last thing I like when we talk about AEW, and I thought something that they just barely put the title on Darby Allin, and he's having these like very semi-hardcore ECW esque matches where he is putting himself on the line, not
That's
just the
crazy.
title, but his whole body, man. He is that Hurricanrana off the top rope, onto the floor. Holy crap! And then
Oh my goodness, man.
and big
I
shout
felt
out
that.
to if you correct me if I'm wrong, Mondo. I'm like I know it's again I do apologize. Kevin Knight.
Kevin Knight, yes sir.
Kevin Knight. Amazing performer. Can what he did in the ring and having that nice chemistry with Darby Allin, showcase who he is a little bit more to me. And going off the top rope and landing on, kind of hurting himself in the same time was like a holy
Yeah.
crap moment. Sometimes that's what AEW is known for, these, during these shows. I know something like that you'll probably see at a PLE because they don't do it unless it's like, hey, I'm really gonna take you out type of style in WWE. But here it was just, like a regular type of match where you're like, holy crap. And that's something that the audience wants to see, us at home too. We want to see those type of moves happen. But great match with Darby Allin. I think he's running his own gauntlet right now because you got Okada coming out now wanting to do a match with them. MJF now it's like it's hair versus title. What the hell is that all about? And then in the distance,
He's just jealous he
Andrade.
doesn't have a good set of hair like MJF. It's okay. I wish I had hair too.
There you got Andrade too. So
I mean,
whoa, the big reveal.
you can't forget. I mean, if I know you're going through them, but also Swerve.
Yeah, Swerve too, man. Like there's a plethora of guys who are waiting in line. But my thing is like, what are you guys' take on, just Darby Allin as a AEW champion right now, holding it down and showcasing himself that, you know what, I came from the bottom, I'm here, and I'm going to stay up here, and I'm going to welcome all challengers. What do you guys think of that?
I absolutely love it. It just shows the importance of the AEW title and how one wrestler like Darby Allin, for example, is just putting that as the be all end all championships in professional wrestling. And I'm not taking anything away from the other companies, but he's kind of showcasing it like, hey, man, when you come to AEW, this is what you're fighting for. You don't have to be anybody different. You can be yourself. You can make it to the top. Hard work, dedication. And you know what? When the opportunity strikes, you better take advantage of that. And he's taking advantage of it, like you said, his own running his own gauntlet. And you got big names, you got big names and big guys. Like he bounced off of Brody King like nothing. He was just like, you know,
Yeah, and
and
Brody
he
King is
is
big.
he is like, man, he's not backing down. He even said it himself. He's gonna go until his body gives out. Let's just hope he doesn't push himself too hard. Uh, love seeing Darby. I did notice though, and you got to be honest with me here, guys. I thought his mystique was kind of losing a little bit of traction. Usually, when he comes out, there's always a big pop, and I did notice there was a less of a pop when he would show up. I'm not saying that he needs Sting. He didn't need Sting, but you know what? We still got him with him, and that was great. But I just felt like his mystique was running a little bit not. I don't want to say stale, but it was. I was afraid it was running its course, but they pulled the trigger at the right time, and I feel like fans are even more invested in Darby, more behind him more than ever, because it was just like, dude, when is this guy gonna get his opportunity? When is it? When is it? When is it? Got his opportunity. He's running the gauntlet, and let's see how far he can take this. And it's great to see that the title's being defended, I should say, on a weekly basis, because you know what, that reminds me, and I'm gonna go back to WWE, WWF. Bret the Hitman Hart, he gave title opportunities to, like, these unknowns, like the Skinner, that alligator dude, whatever he was. But he just showcased a lot of these unknown talents.
Yeah,
and i
fighting.
think and I think Darby's doing a great job. Like you said, Kevin Knight is for an example. May not have heard of him, but hey, he used to tag with TJP in New Japan before coming over, and a lot of big upside to what he's doing. So hopefully we can see more. I want to say mid-level guys getting a shot, not just some of the big names we know, but that's a good thing. That's a good place to start off. And then if he runs that gauntlet, I do want to see more challengers like out of nowhere. Give it to like Christian Cage.
Your dad,
Yep.
to your
Yeah,
real
that's why
dad.
I said Christian Cage, because he's my dad. I gotta
Gotta
put my dad first.
call my dad. That. Miguel, what do you think about Darby Allin?
I guess I'm a little bit torn because I do appreciate his hard work and what he's done um, for AEW, and I do feel like something like that, like this, obviously is big, right?
Oh,
There's
damn.
no denying it. There's someone like him and his caliber and what he's done deserves this. But in terms of being an AEW champion, I'm not really too much of a fan housing right now, if I'm being honest. I just think. I just think I like you said, and I know we've seen it already, right? But what if he runs through another three Brodies? It's kind of like you said, Darby's smaller frame, small, and then here comes the big show, and then he wins. Like I get the story aspect behind it, but it doesn't make sense visually. Like I rather him get put with someone closer to his size and then lose the belt than what happened against Brody Cream, right? Now don't get me wrong. I love that he fought someone bigger. He's a fighting champion. And I love that he's fighting it his way, right? Like a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more using the ground and all that kind of action that brings with his style. But on a week to week basis or on a other week basis, you're gonna keep that up for what, 50 something weeks throughout the year. That's gonna be kind of tough.
Twice in
And
one
I think
week with
that's
the
what
pay per
makes
view.
him stand out. No, I think that's what makes him stand out, though. I think that's kind of, not to contradict Mondo what he said about the women, but yeah, he might be a little bit smaller, like you said, Miguel, and I think that's what brings character and David versus Goliath type of thing. And we saw it last, a decade ago, over a decade ago with Rey Mysterio when he won it. He was a WWE champion back in the day, and more than one occasion, I believe, and that was the ultimate David versus Goliath type of character during that time. And I think Darby Allin, and I think he, in the long run, he's gonna put on a good show. Reminds me a lot of Mick Foley at times, where
Ugh.
he I know what, but the whole point is where he just like puts his body on the line,
Mhm.
and he takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
No,
And like Miguel said, until he finds that right opponent, where that's gonna be the one that's gonna dethrone him, you'll at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, damn, Darby did it, and he defended that really well, and we represented AEW really
Oh
well.
yeah, I mean, don't
So,
get me wrong, he's doing a hell of a job. I'm not trying to talk any smack, you
but
know.
I feel what you say. I feel what you're
He,
saying.
yeah, he's just nothing wrong. I'm just saying, like, I guess I would like to say I'm a small frame too, but I would like to believe that if I was in the WWF or WWE and I had a title like that, like, bro, I'm losing this shit next week because I got this guy that's like 6'8" and eats two chickens for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? I don't I eat two eggs. I can't compete with that. You know what I mean?
Mono, you have your side note there. Can you pull up the card for Backlash before we jump to that segment? Just real quick, if you guys want to touch up on, and I think what's lastly about AEW, again, great show. Looking forward to this Saturday, and see what they got there. But Jericho, holy crap! When it comes to having Jericho at his age, still got it, and then we got we got a semi botch happening there, which I think he did it on purpose to get people upset. Talking about hey, we're in North Carolina, and then Jericho's
Mhm.
breaking the fourth wall right there, and he's like, it's South Carolina. With Ricochet there.
Got
I
some good
think that's going
heat
to be
from the
an
crowd.
interesting feud. So.
And we got the Stadium Stampede. So let's see. Well, before we talk about the Stadium Stampede and everything else, do you want to touch base on Backlash predictions? Because we kind of started on the Backlash predictions, but let's go back
Well,
and
but we
finish all
could
the
we
matches.
let's finish up with AEW, and then we
Hmm.
could go into Backlash right before we end our segment for this first show.
Okay. So with that being said, the Stadium Stampede, I'm thinking maybe if two certain wrestlers do not sign back with WWE, maybe we can see them on the 20, I believe it's the 24th of May, which is Sunday. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. 26th? I think it's May 26th.
Um,
I
it's,
think it's one of those. I think the last weekend in May, right?
So, oh no, it's going to be the 24th. Okay. Huh. I don't know how to add or subtract right now. But anyways, I'm hoping we get to see these two people, two individuals. And let's just say it might be a brand new day, but just a little hint there of who I think might show up to back up Chris Jericho. He did say it was people
I
he
hope they get a new name.
yeah, because I think it's a registered trademark with WWE. So we'll see what happens, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people, aren't keen with Stadium Stampedes, but I like them. They're always a lot of fun. They're very entertaining, and to see Ricochet, Gates of Agony, um, another tag team that I really enjoy watching, they're
so
going
the
to do
Hurt
something
Business will
special.
not. So the Hurt
Hurt
Business will not.
Business, I think they might be participating, but then um, if MVP joins in on the fun, that'll only leave one slot open. Because remember, it's 5 people. So
I don't think MVP will join. He hasn't joined any kind of wrestling in a
quite some
while.
time, yeah. So let's just see. It could be Hurt Business and then
Her syndicate.
Hurt Syndicate, sorry. And yeah, it got me right there. Yeah, we heard.
People.
And the let's just say New Day comes out, and that'll be an awesome thing to see. But I'm really looking forward to Stadium Stampede. They're always fun. They're always a great form of entertainment. It's brutal. It's fun. It's funny. You get to see some wacky things. So um, here's hoping for the best for that Sunday.
Miguel, what do you think?
Yeah, no, no. I mean, I think the same thing. I'm looking forward to the Stadium Stampede. I definitely think there might be a huge possibility that we might see Xavier and Kofi make that switch over to AEW. I doubt that they will be coming in with their new names. They'll probably be coming in as something else. Hopefully, they're able to keep creative on their name this time, and they were able to handle all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the Stadium Stampede. Like Mondo said, they're always fun. It's always entertaining. You're always looking at something, and it's not every day that we get something like that, or AEW puts on something like that. So that's another thing that AEW does pretty good. Their types of matches, we see them pretty well throughout the year, and I like that about that. So
Yeah, here comes Austin Creed and True Kofi out here with as I'm pretty sure they're gonna be rebranded as a like yo, here comes the new afternoon or something. Instead of pancakes as waffles.
yeah, for
Uh,
real.
but
Sayonara,
that's
brothers. I
pretty dumb.
don't know.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure it might be. I think you might be right on that. I think there's a possibility that they might show up in AEW, and we're all looking forward to that. So, great show for both Monday Night Raw and Dynamite, and we're looking forward to this weekend. And then yeah, Mondo, if you can run us down what the card is for Backlash,
So
and let's do our predictions.
the card so far, we're gonna go. There's 5 matches total. We'll end it with the World Championship match there. Or we can start it off there. I mean, we just gave our predictions for that, but I don't think we heard yours. But we'll save that towards the end. First is the Miz and Kit Wilson. Is that correct? Kit
Yep.
Wilson versus Danhausen and to be determined. TBD. Is it a creator wrestler? I don't know. Who do you think is going to join Danhausen there, Miguel?
I'm a big fan, Housen, you know that. So um. I know this might be a little out there, and people be saying that this is his feud, but I would love for Finn to come out as his alter ego with him.
Okay.
I've been reading about that. The verse maybe possibly might want to see them battle with each other or kind of have that feud. But I think if they can get them together first and then feed into that storyline of them kind of breaking apart and then they start that feud. What do you guys think?
Well, I think Danhausen, one of the great pickups for WWE, and just exploded onto the scene here. Besides getting booed on his first day, but he's done an amazing job just entertaining, and then in his limited wrestling matches, which was like what two, did tell a good story. But I think and Mondo might know about this already, and some of the wrestling audience out there will know that he is really good friends with CM Punk.
Mhm.
I mean, just you could throw him out there, hey, if you want to talk about that pay cut, but if you get out there with CM Punk, I think something totally different for him. That's my big prediction there for that because I think going back because they're friends. And if he loses, you are cursed. Mondo, what do you think?
I do believe it'll be CM Punk, like you said, the best friend aspect, the behind the scenes things, and just knowing that hey, CM Punk was the one who kind of guided his career, or had a little whisper in his ear in the AEW days. And it is a great pickup. I gotta agree with you. It's a hell of a pickup for WWE with Danhausen. I'll be honest, he looked like he was kind of lost in the shuffle there with AEW. Yes, he did get injured, uh, but it didn't kind of pan out as I think they wanted him to be. Um, they didn't want him to be too entertaining, but they wanted him to be kind of serious at the same time, which I didn't buy sometimes. But just having him in WWE, yeah, that's a great fit. It's about entertaining. I think AEW could learn a little bit from that too. But going back to Danhausen, I think we'll see CM Punk as his partner there for this Saturday's Backlash, and it'll be a good fit. It'll come to fruition. Everything will come together, and yeah, they're both going to be cursing the Miz and Kit Wilson there, so that'll be a lot of fun. Next match, it's Io Sky versus Asuka.
Oh,
This is going to be a freaking great match. Tony, go.
I think the missing element is obviously the release of Kyrie Sane. Unfortunate. But I feel like I kind of want to see Asuka win this match. I think she has everything to gain and at the same time everything to lose because Io is just a phenomenal superstar. Whether she wins or loses, she'll always be in the hunt for that championship. And I think Asuka being this deviant individual, I think she needs this win for her to put herself as one of the top heels in the women's division, and I can see her winning this match, and hopefully maybe somebody else might show up, but we'll just leave it at that. But that's just my prediction. I think Asuka's taking it.
No, I don't think he was going to show
No, Evil is stuck in NXT,
up.
and I think he has a different name that still hasn't been trademarked yet. So,
Oh, so.
he's created Wrestler 7 or something right now. So,
You got this crappy moveset.
Miguel, what do you think about that match between Asuka and Io
Yeah,
Sky?
I think Io Sky's gonna win, man. I just think last year Io Sky was a champion at WrestleMania. This year, you don't have an appearance at WrestleMania. I think she's just probably fighting with the fire under her, where she's just like this is her time to not only prove again to herself, but prove to whatever direction exactly WWE is going to say, hey, you know what? Like I'm still your girl, and I got Io.
You got Io? All right. Mondo, who do you got?
Damn, got to go with the big brother on this one. Got to back up your brother's play, like they said in the movie Tombstone. So I'm going with Asuka, man. They're gonna have a great match. Give or take, I predict this match is gonna go at least one of the few matches that'll have a lengthy time, 15, 20 minutes. Like Miguel said, they got something to prove, just like you, Tony. They're coming out of this whole thing that we don't want to touch or keep talking about, but these two ladies, they didn't have their WrestleMania moment this year. They were waiting in the wings, and yeah, they're gonna go out there. They're gonna put a hell of a match like they always do. But I feel Asuka, she's due. She's due for a big push, and I think we're gonna see that starting this Saturday at Backlash. Asuka all the way.
Who?
All right, and then we got Seth Rollins. He's still around now. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker.
Miguel, I'll let you take this one because I'm pretty sure. I think we're gonna be in the opposites.
Let me make that very clear right now. I think my boy Braun Breaker is gonna come out and just come full force. So I got nothing else to say, but I got my boy Braun Breaker.
Cool. I agree, Miguel. I think Braun Breaker is going to come out fast. This is going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be a squash match. I think you're going to see him dominate up and down. And it's time to release the dog, release the.
I was gonna say along those lines, this is one of those matches for him, or not for him, but just for everyone to understand. Out with the old, in with the new. It's just the way the torch happens. And Seth Rollins, we can't keep doing this whole storyline of his knees injured, then he comes back. Oh, his knees hurt again, then he comes back. Or he's taking care of these people. Okay, now he's not. It's like his time is done. Let Braun Breaker and the new boys that are all cooking right now have their storylines. Like I said, just to go back to all those NXT wrestlers that I mentioned earlier, name one that isn't doing their own lane and that the universe doesn't have some sort of connection with. Every single person that I've named, the universe somehow has a connection with already. It's not like they're coming down the ramps and they have to establish that connection with the crowd or uh, all these people from NXT are basically superstars coming up, you know? So if I'm looking at it, not even from just TKO standpoint, just from a wrestling standpoint, or even you guys put yourself in that standpoint too. If I'm looking at that roster and I'm older, let's be real. Am I thinking that they're gonna give me the big push? When I got, like you said, when I got a dog like him waiting to just come and fill in my spot, I just think this is a big year for the big push for all these NXT youngsters, or not even youngsters, but young talent to come in and start infiltrating and start planting their seeds on their stories, you know?
Love it. Tony.
I think this feud is going to keep on going into. I think maybe the bigger payoff might be SummerSlam, but I think in the medium, I really think, and I like, I'm wearing the shirt. I love Seth, but I'm gonna probably agree with you guys here because who did Paul Heyman just lose?
Damn, Brock, dude.
Right? He lost Brock Lesnar. Who in his stable can be that person that can carry that torch of being that beast? And I think Miguel and you guys have hit it on the other head. I think Braun Breaker is ready for that massive push. And Seth Rollins, yes, he still has it, he still got it, but I don't think it'll really hurt him in the long run because he could put him in another feud, and then if he wins that feud, he could easily say, "Hey, I'm back in the title shot. I'm
Mhm.
back in it." Versus Braun Breaker, he's gonna skyrocket. He's gonna go right after because what's gonna happen after the WWE championship, whether Jacob wins or Roman wins, you got Braun salivating at the mouth right after this feud is over. He's gonna go straight to them. He's gonna go after them, and spear versus spear, or the Samoan werewolf. Like that's just gonna be an interesting match because you know going back to the athleticism, man, Braun Breaker. How many times has he speared Seth Rollins out of out of the stadium? Jesus Louise. I love Seth. I think he's a great competitor. I think he's a great athlete, but I think it's time for Braun Breaker to be let loose.
Yeah,
There
it's
you
time.
go.
It's time for them to just kind of just let him do his thing and just all right, let's go now. But
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I really go back to this because I keep really thinking about it. But I mean, the last two classes of NXT have gave us absolute gold stars for the future. Uh, and the class that's coming up right now too behind them, they're
Yep.
just as talented. And they also just brought, I can't remember his name, but they just brought the dude from the British indies, and he's killing it. So I'm like, I
Well, we're
need,
gonna have to get the name for that since we're talking about NXT. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on NXT since everybody's brand new. And
yeah.
again, if you guys are listening to this and hearing us out, and you want to put that comment on there, hey Miguel, you dumbass, it says this guy.
Whoa,
And for
whoa, whoa
sure
there,
we'll
buddy.
get back better next week. So
Yeah, we'll get
um,
better next week for sure.
Oh yeah, it's
There's
episode
just
number
a
one
lot of
here,
people, a
guys.
lot of promotions to
yeah,
really keep your eye on, but um,
nah, but you're good, Miguel. You're good, Miguel. Just messing
All
with you.
right. And then the last match here, guys, is the World Heavyweight Championship. Who's that guy, the head of the table? Roman, Roman Reigns, and
These are
Jacob
yes.
Fatu. We already made our predictions, Tony. We're just waiting on you.
I think you know the outside noise of what's happening in the world within WWE,
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hear it. My heart does think that um, Roman Reigns will take it, and Roman Reigns will be your tribal chief, head of the table, going into SummerSlam. And, if we can see that Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns for night 2 at SummerSlam, I think we're going to be watching a barn burner there. And hopefully that build up, if that happens, will be one of the greatest SummerSlams out there. But I do see Roman Reigns taking this. Jacob will probably get into a fight with the Usos. And then probably Solo will probably jump in there too with Jacob, and we'll see the cousins fight it out there while we got Roman, having a matchup with Braun Breaker. At least that's my prediction going into Backlash.
Backlash.
Backlash. All right, guys. I think we'll end it there. We'll touch base a little bit more on AEW when the pay-per-view is a little bit more set in stone. I know they got a couple of matches, but let's not do our predictions just yet. Let's wait until we got the entire card there. But with that, Tony, take us home.
Cool, you got it, man. So again, thank you guys for listening to our podcast. This is our first podcast. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and then drop a comment and just let us know what else you want us to talk about. If there's something you guys agreed with, or if our opinions were crap, and you can tell us too. We understand. Just keep it WWE PG, guys, because we want to make sure we not only bring you a good show, but then really talk about the wrestling scene with you guys. And again, this is our opinion. This is what we saw, what we noticed, and we love wrestling. We enjoy what we see, and we'll do better next time. So for the first show, my name's Tony. We got Armando in the background. Sorry, Armando. Go. Sorry.
No worries. I'm Armando.
And this Miguel over here.
Cool. We're the West Coast Wrestling Trios podcast. Catch you next time, guys. Thank you so much.